You guys, it's not often that we get to use the L word on the podcast, but we are definitely using the L word on the podcast today, and that L word is legend. Oh, we have an absolute legend in his field on the podcast today. Katt Williams, who is the star of The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks 2, joins us today on Higher Learning. Brother, we are pleased to have you.
Thank you. What a fine introduction, man. Thank you so much. And thank you, Rachel, as well.
So when I say that, when I describe you as a legend in comedy, do you feel like that's an apt description of Katt Williams?
No. Legendary, yeah.
At what point? Because see, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't know what that's like. At what point did you look up at yourself and was like, "Yo, I'm one of the greats to do this ever. I'm one of the best at this of all time, and nobody can take it away from me"?
During the pandemic.
Oh, it was during the pandemic.
Really?
Okay.
Why do you say that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have been working on humility for this last portion of my life. Those of us that go through the commandments, there's some that we're just not good at. Patience and humility were that I needed to work on, and that's what I worked on. By the same token, though, it's bad for our community, for our business, if we act like the good people in our business are the villains, because then it means that our villains are somehow put on a pedestal as good guys. And in our business, it's the body of work that speaks to what you are in our field, the quality and the quantity of the work that you put out. And so based upon that is why I accepted the L word, just because the work has been put in, just because the content that's put in, the care has been there, the fact that the things hold up over time.
And because you are a legend, what is your take on the current state of comedy right now? Like, especially in regards, because I don't know if I've heard you talk about it, just like with cancel culture and comedy and people feeling like they can't be them true selves on the stage. What's your take on all that?
I'm a guy in the game that appreciates that there has to be bounds. Cancel culture is not really a thing. See, cancellation doesn't have its own culture. This was a part of people of color's culture, and we needed something that would police our people that were being trashed and physically, mentally, and financially raped in our business by people that were wealthier and bigger than them. And then they were able to sweep their small voices under the rug. And that's what cancel culture was for, was to make sure that there was a recompense for whatever action you did. So I'm not one of those people that thinks it's a bad thing. I'm not really sure who we think got canceled that shouldn't have been. So you have to understand that when things evolve, you either evolve with it or you evolve against it. And there is no such thing as that. I don't want to call somebody something that I shouldn't call them, when if I had known that, I could have found something else to call them. You understand? So nobody likes the speed limit, but it's there for a reason. Nobody wants to be on the shoulder of the road because it's bumpy, but that's to wake you up to get back in lane. And most people that are complaining about not having anything to say didn't have anything to say in those years when they could say whatever they wanted to. They didn't make it then either.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not expecting that answer from you, brother, because you've always said whatever you wanted and been there. And I talk to a lot of comedians and I have comic friends, and it seems to be kind of a running narrative amongst the comic community that they feel a little shackled by what it is that they can and cannot say these days. You hear everybody talking about it.
Right, because because I'm not that outspoken for the sake of being outspoken. They say that I'm outspoken because no one pays me. So I don't have in 9, 10, 11 specials, I don't have anybody that put up money to see Katt Williams be successful or took him out on the road and exposed him. This was me financing, writing, doing every set for 16 100 city tours. Like, this was our same entity doing this. So we don't have to be beholden to entities because we've not taken anything from any entities. Just because there are bad elements doesn't mean that you can now say, yeah, you can't, you scared to say anything now. What did you think you were saying before? Those jokes weren't famous. Those ones when you could say whatever you wanted, you know what I mean? So you can expect me to have a different answer to the questions that people have agreed upon, because that's what makes me a legendary comic, is that if you line me up with 100 other comics, I'm not going to say what 99 comics said. And that's where you get a legendary status in comedy.
Is it me or you?
It's you.
It's
okay.
you.
Thank you, Katt.
Thank you, Rachel.
I saw where Saweetie was talking, and she was talking, I don't know, she might be talking Breakfast Club or something like that. And she was saying how one of your jokes helped her get over people hating on her. Her dad showed her a joke of yours where you talked about haters and how that's a good thing. If you got 14 haters, you need 20 more or something like that. Do you hear that a lot about the work that you do? Like people coming up to you saying, hey, like this joke helped me through this, because this, I mean, like the depth of the things that you talk about, even most recently, what you did with Supreme, I really feel like your jokes help people. Sorry, I lost my voice. I had a good weekend, Katt.
That's okay. I love when a woman's voice sounds like that. It means a good weekend.
I was just wondering, do you hear that a lot? Like Saweetie's comments of people coming up to you and saying your comedy helps them get through things or over certain things?
Yeah, well, it's for them. So I'm not surprised that it's benefiting people. That's who the medicine was prescribed to. That's number one. Number two, anything that you hear me saying to my audience is something that I'm also saying to myself first. That's the relationship with that propelled me to a higher place. I don't think there's anything more important on this planet than a woman, period. Because that's how I feel, that bleeds into everything that I do. It's not a thing that was done because a movement came. I really love my people, even at the worst of them. So that comes through. I need someone to understand that hatred is part of it. It went for Gandhi, it went for Jesus, it went for Muhammad, it goes for you. And if you understood that that was part of what comes with it, then you'd understand that the rind comes with the orange. The seeds are in the watermelon. You understand that you don't eat the silk off the corn. The corn's up under. These are pieces to God's creation. And if you can have somebody give that to you, even if it's comedically, it can help. And it's not going to apply to anybody except the people that were already great, the people that just needed a word, the people that, and that's who I service. So I'm no different than anybody else who loves their job, but I really love my job. It's the only really care about in the world. So it's a blessed place.
So I'm going to ask you that, comedy is bustling right now. A lot of guys out there. And you there's a lot of dudes out there doing it at a very high level. It's just like tiers of comedy. And to you, what makes a legendary comic? Like, what are the ingredients? I'm sure you would agree that Dave Chappelle is a legend. I'm sure that you would agree that Chris Rock is a legend. And there are other guys, like obviously Kevin Hart has done his thing, and he's up on that kind of legendary status now. And you're there, and there's a lot of different people that are up there. Bill Burr, all over the place. Like, what makes a legendary comic? Like, what makes a comic to you? Like, what are the ingredients? Because I'm hearing you talking about longevity, you're talking about originality. What makes what's the elixir?
All of the comedians that you named, with no exception, were working in 1999 and were well on their way to being famous.
Okay.
Meaning that you can already enter yourself, like with any workplace, into a field of people knowing that you're good. And you have to be good for a portion of time in order to be great. And then you have to be great for a portion of time to become legendary. You follow what I'm saying? There's no shortcuts to any of this. So Ja Morant can be the greatest version of himself. He's just coming out, and he can just come out, and you can say, in watching him for just this playoffs, man, that dude's gonna be great, right? LeBron on 17th, 18th, 19th season is a whole different element of greatness. Part of the upper tier is not what's happened good for you. It's what has happened messed up in your life also as well during this period of time that you were able to supersede. You follow what I'm saying? Richard Pryor doesn't of comedy without being a crackhead, without freebasing, without sleeping with guys, without marrying 7 women. This is all part of this dude's story, and the legendary GOAT status is that he was able to do all of that and still be the GOAT in our framework. And at some point, that's where longevity comes into play. But our field has always been busy, and there is great talent out there, whether they came through Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok. There are some really great, funny young minds that have entered our comedy space, and that's what comedy always does.
Who's the funniest new guy that you like? Is there anybody in particular?
Well, we would have to quantify new guy.
Okay.
Only because, you know, in comedy and stand-up especially, you can be doing this thing for 5 to 7 years and still consider yourself and be considered a new comic.
Okay.
A lot of these Billy Sorrells and delays have only recently gotten the status that they think, and the issue becomes, okay, let's say you do have it. You've got the crown. Well, part of the rest of this is how you carry it, how you hold it, and how long you keep it up there. And so that's what the Tony Bakers and the Tahirs and that's what these new guys bring to that forum is, you know, Kev on stage. These guys are giving you different variations of our craft, and that's important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Katt, does it bother you when people make certain assumptions about you because of something that they've read or they think they know? Or like even most recently when you were talking to Fat Joe and he was talking to you about comedians and drugs and how he perceives that. Does that bother you when you hear stuff like that?
I'm empowered by a lot of the things that bother me. It's hard for me to complain about the fuel. I have in the past allowed those things to be said just because I don't really mind people being dumb, and dumb people aren't part of my fan base. So if you wanted to believe that Katt Williams was anything negative, then first and foremost, you should be able to beat him. So even if he was all the things that you labeled him with, it doesn't explain how he outworks you on a consistent basis in every lane, movies, TV, stand-up. As a person, he looks better. A lot of the things don't add up, but they're done by the system purposely. So if they can't find something positive to say about you, they will find negative things to say. And apologies and things are not even built in our system. So in our system, it's a part of a thing to say, this person was charged with these crimes. But there is no part of the system that makes those same people come back out and go, the charges were dismissed because the guy was innocent. And we should have never subjected it. None of that ever comes about. And at the end of the day, it's easier for people to believe bad things about you. To believe good things about a person means an investment in character. It's much easier to go, yeah. He sweats on stage, drugs. The other way would be, maybe that's the only guy on stage not wearing makeup. I don't know. I don't need to lead the witness. Feel however you'd like to feel. I have eczema. I'm performing for ladies who want to see me sweat their hair out. I don't have the concern of penises because that's not my fan base. And when I said that, people were like, he thinks he's got the most female fan base. My fan base is 86% female. Is that enough? Does that not already put me blessed amongst the men? I'm thankful that they're talking. Back in the day, they used to say, all press is good press. They stopped saying that. They used to say, well, just be worried when they stop talking about you. But yeah, longevity works with rumors really well.
So look, there's a Katt Williams clip that I watch all the time. And I don't know if people are going to be mad at me for saying that this is the one that I watch all the time. Because it was very controversial. Oh, it wasn't very controversial. It was so a couple of years ago, you went on V103 in Atlanta. Do you remember that? And yeah, that's a good one. And it was, and this right here, and I want people to, when you watch the clip, watch the stages leading up to what happened. Everybody's having a good time. People are going back and forth, and then for some reason, the signals get crossed, and you can tell on Katt's face that he felt like somebody was coming for him. And the lady's name was Wanda, and she was a comedian down there in Atlanta. And Katt just, what, am I wrong about that? Am I setting it up wrong?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Tell me.
Two of those things are wrong.
Okay,
and they shade the whole thing.
Okay, so, tell me what happened. Because this is a legendary viral moment of Katt roasting a female comedian, a Katt roasting a comedian that was the co-host of Frank Ski's show. Oh, he's shaking his head.
No.
Okay, what happened?
Okay, so there were two things at play.
Okay.
At play was, this was not my moment. This was not supposed to be my moment. This was supposed to be another comedian, Red Grant.
Shout out Red Grant.
His moment, right? Mm-hmm. This person comes to me and tries to make it, Katt, can't you say hi to your people? Atlanta loves you. I represent Atlanta, and you just won an Emmy for Atlanta. I don't want to talk about your personal life. I don't want to talk about your kids. I just want to big up you to my crowd. That's how this was set up. So automatically when she goes into kids and whatnot, it's already off the rails at that point. I'm telling her, ma'am, I've watched you and your response when my name is brought up on your channel. It was the fact that she went out of her way to say that wouldn't be the case. You follow what I'm saying? I don't do that at my comedy shows. I'm not a comedian that picks on the audience. That's not a part of my thing. Atlanta is famous for roasters, but I'm not a roaster. I'm a fighter. Also offended because I know the majority of female comics in this business. And I know that as a big time male comedian, you have to go out of your way to hire these female comics so that they're represented. And my fan base is female. So I make sure that I bring female artists for my fan base to see. That woman is not a comedian then or now. That woman was never that was nobody's favorite comic ever. Wasn't a comedian. That was a radio personality that used to come and do comedy shows and host and steal people's material. This was a hack. So there was no respect comedically. It was actually disrespect. And so that's how it was handled. My job was to use no curse words, to not demean her in any way. And if your husband pulls a pistol out on me, not make sure that he goes to jail for the rest of his life, destroying your family. These are the G things I have to do in these scenarios, because those type of people can never win in any scenario.
Yeah, she definitely didn't win in that one.
No, because you have to be delusional to want to engage yourself with me like that. Like, understand, I was on Wild and Out. I was 35 years old and there with them youngsters. What you want to play with it on any level, however you want to deal with things. I work too hard. I try too much. I care too much. Beating me is no, it's unnecessary.
Would you, last question for me, because I know Rachel's got a couple. Would you ever see yourself doing a movie with Kevin Hart? Katt Williams, Kevin Hart, big time comic deal, linking up.
When these people say these things to you, they're only saying these things for your reaction. They're saying that because that's what they want people to say. If you look back on their IMDb, you'll probably notice they already work.
They have done movies, yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? They probably had the movie 2 Minutes of Fame with me and Jay Farrow, and it was probably on the LOL network, and you decided to not be in the movie with your own art. Like, no, I don't do that. That's what this movie here shows. I'm not an ego-driven person. I want what's best for the audience, no matter what the size of my role is. I know young Katt Williams is in that theater and he wants to see what I'm gonna do. And he believes that I'm gonna give it 100%. If it's on stage, if it's on TV, if it's on film, he feels like I'm 100% invested. Only care is making him laugh or making her laugh. And that's what I try to bring to this sport. And I feel like if that's how you felt, you probably are better than the rest. Who knows? Rachel?
Last question I'll just ask you. Katt, last question I'll ask you.
Oh my God.
It's just, you've got the new movie, The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks 2. Please tell us about it, because it's coming out in theaters. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but it's coming out in theaters soon. So please
shout out Deion Cole. Shout out the homie.
And why we all should go out and see it.
Deion Taylor, yeah.
Deion Taylor, my bad. Yeah, shout out Deion Taylor.
So this was already a group, a family that had done a movie together. And the only additions to the cast were myself and my henchmen. And so we were the only additions to this universe. And so it made it a play-in, playoffs type of situation. Then it allowed me to, when I read script, I'm not the funny guy in the script. I'm the straight man. So now if you got me as a straight man, you must really have some shooters. And considering we really did have some shooters, that's what made it work so well and organically, because a lot of the things that should have been acting weren't acting. They were natural.
Yeah.
And great.
And Deion gonna be mad at me because I called him Deion Cole, but look, he sent me the he sent me the trailer.
Shout out to Deion.
Shout out to Deion Cole, Deion Taylor, those my guys. Like they sent me the trailer, and it's like, yo, Van, post the trailer. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's very rarely that you laugh. You guys, anyone that's thinking about going to see the movie, just put the trailer on. The shit is fucking hysterical. Like, literally.
Yeah, well, what makes it different, though, is lots of trailers are funny. But then when you get to the movie, you find out that all the funny parts were in the trailer.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this is not that scenario.
And you say you're playing the straight man, but you're playing it so straight that is dumbass funny. Like he's being like he's like an elegant type of villain, this character. And it's so straight that is dumbass funny. Shout out to Duval, shout out to Michael and everybody that's in the movie. But I really cannot wait to actually go see the film. I can't wait. It's gonna be real funny, man. And it's good to talk to you. We haven't ever.
Yes.
The last time I saw you, you might not remember this. I was a TMZ cameraman, and I got a shot.
You don't think I remember your meeting, bro? You don't think I? Oh,
what happened? What happened?
Oh, look, this is only two people that were gonna make it out of TMZ that generation. And it was the guy who's with you, and there was another young lady who had potential. But at each point, I'm hemming these folks up. Like, y'all know y'all part of the machine that chews up dudes like me.
It was always be real. You would shoot Katt. Katt would give you the answer, and then he would give you a jewel. And it would be so, it was like, I used to tell my homies, it'd be so loving. He'd be like, yes, and I know that you know you're better than this. Have a great day. What is it about?
Because, you know, it doesn't matter what lane it is. As an older person, you see the potential in younger people, and you see when somebody has a moral compass and the ability to have a standard. And you know when people are too good for stuff, but you understand what springboards are. You understand what stepping stones are. And so, you know, that's how far back we go. But that means that when I see it down the line, it makes sense, you know? So
word up.
It's a big compliment, man.
Yeah, man. Look, one of the smartest, one of the best interviews, one of like the last true authentic guys we have out here in this space. Happy to see you prospering and thriving, bro. Happy to see,
absolutely,
you know, you doing your thing, man, and embracing that legendary status, bro. So thank you for joining us today, Katt.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Take care.
And Rachel, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. No matter what your voice is doing, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
No problem.